My name's Steve Howard. I live in Dorchester in Dorset in the UK, southern England. I started back in 2006 with the MDS, the Himalayan 100 in 2019 and the Namib race in 2019 as well.
You need to be freakishly talented to run an ultramarathon.
Right, well that's clearly fiction and I'm living proof of that. I don't think you need to be anything other than have a positive attitude towards what the challenge that you're taking on. Most of the people I see and have run with, pretty ordinary people. In fact, I'm quite surprised at how overweight and unfit some people are who do the ultramarathon and they still finish.
So you need to train 18 to 24 hours per week to run an ultra.
That's absolute fiction. I think you need to be as race fit as you possibly can be, and that effectively means fitting in as much training as your lifestyle permits. As for training 18, 24 hours a week, you don't need to do that. Yes, is it advisable? Yes, if you can fit it in, but no, you don't need to.
There will always be someone who looks cooler than you.
I don't think really looking cool on an ultramarathon should be high up on a list. Probably the most important thing on an ultra is that you park your ego at the door before you start. You're experiencing things with people who, after 5-6 days, are smelly, dirty, looking as though they've been living on the street for 6 months. And equally, so do I, and so will you. Yeah, so don't worry about looking cool, just do your thing.
Food choices during an ultra are important.
I'm going to have to answer this both fact and fiction. It is important, got to have enough energy to undertake the race and complete it. How you take that food and how you eat it is as individual as each runner. Weight is a particular problem when it comes to unsupported races, so the least amount of food that you can get away with just means you're carrying less food on your back. And I can assure you at the end of the first stage, you're going to regret having those extra half dozen Snicker bars in your pack because your shoulders are going to hurt.
Ultra marathoners are super competitive.
Probably fiction on that one, but I would say the vast majority of people undertaking ultramarathons, in my experience, doing so for the experience, not to finish first, not to even finish in the top 10, probably not even the top half. They're quite happy to take part, to enjoy the experience, enjoy the adventure, and to get through it as painlessly as possible.
I'm too old to start running ultras.
Well, that's fiction. I started running ultras when I was about 40. Looking back, I would say the average age of most of the people that I see doing these races are about 50, actually, strangely enough. I've done races where people have been as young as 21 and I think the eldest was 76, if I remember rightly. But the answer is no, you don't need to be young. You can start at any age. Positive mental attitude is the most important thing.
Ultras are more mental than physical.
Yeah, that's fact. I used to say it's 80% mental, 20% physical. If you've got a good, strong, positive mental attitude towards a race, that will overcome many inadequacies in your training or your physical abilities. You need to be able to endure a few hardships and you need to be able to mentally tough it out because you're going to be on your feet for a long time.
Blisters are inevitable.
The answer probably is not fact, it's probably fiction. It's really finding a method by which you can get through an ultra without any blisters. I have found a way to get through these things without blisters, and what that really does is allows you to enjoy an ultra. You can enjoy the fact that you are hammering yourself. You can enjoy the terrain, the conditions, the temperatures, the other runners.
The adventure is worth it.
Well, that's fact. Yes, it is worth it. I think the life experiences that I've had through doing adventures, meeting any number of other really, really interesting people, all far more talented than I am, It's the memories that you get and you take away from these races. Every single race that I've done, I still think about these things, not on a daily basis, but quite certainly on a weekly basis. Pretty much every race, and you think, yeah, that was really impressive. I don't know, something like a full moon and the sound of howler monkeys in the Brazilian rainforest, being on top of a Himalayan mountain, the second stage of the Atacama crossing. All those things will stay with me for the rest of my life.
The absolute craziest, most exotic ultramarathon is?
It's not necessarily a particularly positive one, but it was the Jungle Marathon in 2008. It's certainly the craziest. Certainly the hardest, certainly the most exotic. Believe it or not, it took 2.5 days of travelling to get from the UK to the start of the race in northern Brazilian Amazon rainforest. It took 2.5 days. I was absolutely knackered before I even started the race. I would say that's the craziest and the most exotic. Look, all the ultras I've undertaken and thankfully successfully completed are memorable in some way. Some of them are crazy, pretty much all of them are exotic, but they all have memorable sides to them and add to life's rich tapestry. I actually ran a half marathon in Crocs on the last day, but it got to the point where I was in so much pain I had to stop. And it got to the point where I was mentally having to force myself to put one foot in front of the other. It wasn't automatic any longer. It was put your foot in front of the other, put your foot in front of the other. And I did that for probably about 10 Ks. And that's where the mental side of it comes in. Just make sure you finish. You're never going to finish quickly, but I finished. So it gives you a great deal of satisfaction to overcome those sort of obstacles, I think.